Hi, my name's Isaac, and this is a brand new 2023 Dodge Charger GT all-wheel drive blacktop special edition. I know that name sounds ridiculous, but that is the actual name of this car. Says right there on the window sticker, and today I am gonna review it for you guys. Before we begin, I'd like to thank Lancaster Dodge, Ram, and Fiat for allowing me to borrow this vehicle to review. For all your Stellantis needs in the Lancaster, Pennsylvania area, I'll provide a link in the description below. So I am going to shoot this video a little bit differently compared to how I normally would. I'm going to keep it POV for the exterior of the car because there's quite a few things that I want to talk about all over this, and I figure I'm just going to be walking around anyway, so let's shoot it in this new kind of fun way. So, getting started, as you know, this is a V6 model, not the V8, and that of course means automatically it's going to be a less desirable car. But what Dodge has done is they have dressed this up with every single feature that you can get, for the most part, aside from the V8, to kind of coerce you into being interested in this lower trim GT Charger. Now, all-wheel drive is enticing in and of itself. That's only an option on the V6s unless you're law enforcement. You can get that on a V8 model as a police interceptor. But here, all-wheel drive is the only civilian, or the V6, I should say, is the only available engine with the all-wheel drive. So that's an interesting thing. You're also gonna get these larger wheels right here. These are gonna be 245 45R Goodyears, around 20-inch, kind of magnetic gray, steel gray wheels. You'll have blacked out mirror caps, and they're not like plastic, matte black plastic. They're like this nice gloss black, which I think is neat. Blind spot monitoring, they are heated, they're power adjusting. You have keyless entry, sunroof, that's nice. I mean, some people don't think that's nice, but I see what Dodge is doing here. You get this nice spoiler on the back and the blacked out badges. I mean, it really is a sharp car, and you get dual exhaust, and it doesn't sound bad. It sounds pretty nice. Now, of course, that's what they want to do. They want to get you into one of their V6 models, and they don't mind dressing this up a bit. But here's the ultimate question. Do all of these additional features outweigh a V8 engine? Would all of these features get you into a V6 model Charger? Or are you like, nah, I'd rather take a lower optioned V8 for the power than a higher optioned V6 with cooled seats and all the cool, I said cool twice in a row, cool LED lights and all that. Speaking of, you get the cool LED lights with the daytime running light right there, and the LED bulb, fog lights, and this is a sensor for the full safety system this has equipped on it that works in conjunction with a camera up here in the windshield and some other sensors around the car. One thing I think is funny is that you get these yellow, they're shipping bumpers. They protect the car during shipping, but people are like, ooh, I like that. So they keep them on because they think it's like a cool stylistic thing. Dodge even offers them in pink now. But it's funny because if you know what they are, you're like, oh, just take those off. That's just to protect the bumpers during shipping. Dodge has kind of tried to slip this in with all its other models, even with this functional hood vent up here that does allow air to pass through. It looks very convincing. What's interesting is you can spot it very easily out on the road. It'll say Dodge here instead of RT or Scat Pack. That would really be the only thing I would confuse this for. Definitely not a Hellcat, but this might pass for a Scat Pack or an RT. Please do not up-badge your vehicles. Up-badging is so silly. I just think that's ridiculous. Just own it. Because, you know, if you're looking at a car like this, just own that you have the V6. And I know people are gonna tease you, but it's still a cool car overall. And I'll show you what I mean. I think that is especially true on the inside here. It has power seats right here with this lovely Alcantara, and it's so comfortable. Again, this would normally say one of the higher trims, but here they're empty. Over here, I think it's funny, it just says Charger. It doesn't even say GT in the stitching or anything like that, because this is the highest level of the base. But you get lumbar, stuff like that with the seats. Jumping inside, they are very comfortable, very plush seats. This is a super nice, very comfortable armrest. It's very rubbery and squishy. I like that. This is soft touch up here as well. Then you get your window controls, which is nice. This is funny. The mirror controls are really old Dodge. There's a few buttons in here that show the age of this car, and these are some of them, because this was, oh my word, those were available on Dodges in like the late 2000s, and here they are on a 2023 model. You get your lighting right here, a button to pop the trunk, and then the steering wheel is very comfortable on this. It is very grippy, and you have quite a lot of things that you can mess with on this digital screen. You have a lot of performance options on this. It is really, really cool. Wait a minute. Oh, top speed 67 miles per hour. I thought that was a digital speedometer, and I was like, we are not going 67 miles per hour. But I mean, you really do get a lot. I think this is funny. You can do a 0 to 100. You can do braking distance, G-force, lap timer, lap history. I mean, it really, really does give you quite a lot that you can mess with. You have little paddle shifters in here. I mean, even the pedals are kind of this stainless steel design, racing inspired design. But I mean, it comes with pretty much everything the other ones would, except that engine. And is that worth the trade-off? I don't know. For me, it might be. But it is a pride thing. You have to also say it's a pride thing. Like, if I'm gonna spend $51,000, I might as well just get a used Hellcat. But these are gonna be pretty rare someday as well. Now, obviously the V8s are going to command a higher price. There's no doubt about that. But I suspect the V6 GT trim packages like this will also go for a fair amount of money, probably above MSRP, because it's still a gas engine. People will say, well, it doesn't have the sound or the power of the big V8s, but I mean, this still makes 300 horsepower. That's not nothing to scoff at. That's pretty impressive. And I think people will say, ooh, you have a gas charger. You know how we say, ooh, it's a V8 charger, you don't want the V6. I think in the future it'll be like, oh, you have a gas charger. I don't want the electric. Because the electric is very cool. There's no doubt about that. But I think there is a loss of unique identity in an electric vehicle, because if every vehicle can go 0 to 60 in 3 seconds, 2-3 seconds, where's the fun in that, you know? I think there's a lot of fun to be had in this car. Like, even looking at the infotainment here, it says you have your Dodge Performance stuff. You can really, there's even launch control in this. There's quite a lot that you can mess with. One thing I don't really like is that your climate controls are in here. So if you want to mess with your heated or ventilated seats, you have to go into your infotainment screen, which is kind of dumb. It is dumb. It's not kind of dumb, it is. I wish that there was just extra buttons down here with your regular climate vents, but alas, here we are. You'll have sport mode, super track pack, traction control off, your parking sensors right here. I mean, there is quite a lot to like and quite a lot to do here. You get a 12 volt down there, and then this is an automatic. Little disappointing. You know, the trade-off is like, oh man, if it's a manual, well then it's like, it's not so bad that it's the V6. You know, people say that with Mustangs all the time. No, well, at least it's a manual, you know. But Dodge has still made some very impressive automatic V8s in its time, and that hasn't really hindered them and their brand identity. One thing I do think is particularly funny down here is it says Dodge Brothers, designed in Detroit. But if you really think about it, how did they design this car? Probably on a computer, right? Like some guys like on a pretty nice iMac somewhere designing this in some sort of program. Sure, he might have been sitting in Detroit, but he probably designed this car online, like now with all the technology that we have. And I'm sure they did like the clay. Ooh, wow, that's all white. Let's blow that back. There you go. I was in heaven. I was, you know, where Spider-Man sits with Uncle Ben. He sits in the car and they talk about great power, great response. That's what's happening right now.
Take my hand, son. No, Uncle Ben.
And then I'm sure they did the clay sculpting of it outside in Detroit or something like that. But I find that amusing when you actually think about it. You have a little cover right here for your cup holders, and then opening your armrest up, little change holder, another 12 volt, and more storage in there, auxiliary, and 2 traditional USBs. You can see the charger really showing its age because it only has traditional USBs. It does not have like a micro USB anywhere in here. Up here, oh yeah, this roof is chintzy. I've noticed the Challengers have chintzy roofs. This is, I don't know, it just feels like there's like, and I get it, there's a sunroof right here, but even on the non-sunroof models, it always feels like on these Dodges there could be a couple more clips, especially in these areas that you press a lot, because I don't know if you can see this, you get a lot of ceiling movement when you're pressing the dome lights. One nice thing I do like, sunroof, big fan of a sunroof. Like that they've included it here, not panoramic, but it is cool to see. As I previously mentioned, you get that little charger badge over there. I mean, it is comfortable. Overall, it is comfortable in here. It definitely is a nice place to sit. The lumbar on the seats is nice. Like I said, you sink into it. I mean, it's not a bad place to be. Let's take a quick look at the back seats, then we'll take this thing out for a spin. Moving to the rear seats, you'll have 2 climate vents, 2 USBs back here, and there is a fold-down armrest. Nothing that folds up in here, just some nice armrest area and 2 cup holders right there. Both front seats do have little storage pouches, which is nice to see. You don't always get that. And you get a comfortable amount of room back here. It's pretty cozy. Let's drive it. You all want to see me drive it. That's what we want to see. Let's see how this thing drives. I am as curious as you guys are, because if this really rips, dang, I would go with the all-wheel drive GT, because it's still got the fun performance. I just don't get to flex that I have a V8, you know? And is that okay? Should I have spent more money on this car or on a car like this to get the V8 just to say I have it? I don't know. Because, I mean, Dodge makes a good product. Dodge makes a good car. And it feels nice in here. It's comfortable. Ooh, it sounds good too. Doesn't sound as good as the V8. I've done a lot of the V8s. Doesn't sound nearly as good as them. Ooh, but it sounds nice. Here we go, we're gonna open it up. It is a little slow, which is, you know, not what I wanted to say, but when I hit that pedal to the metal, it's a little slow. It sounds nice, and it gets, like, now it's up to speed, it's going, doesn't like fly like the other cars do. I know for a fact there will be people in the comment section that are like, V8's all the way, and I know there'll be people in the comment section that already own one of these and say, I have the V6 and I like it a lot. And I'm not just saying that to try to convince myself, I genuinely do. And I believe those people. I believe that they'd enjoy this car, because if they want a fun, performance-oriented car that isn't crazy expensive, but still has all the gadgets and gizmos of that higher-end trim, they get that here. And I don't feel like there's a compromise other than the engine. Sometimes even in V8 models of cars, there's a compromise because maybe there's cheaper plastics or they cost cut somewhere to make this car a reality. And obviously, I don't get the nice big engine. But for daily driving, it's fine. All right, we're gonna open it up one more time here. See, it sounds good. Ah, that picks up a little bit better than it did before on the highway. Maybe it just needed a little bit. It's still not great. It's definitely no Hellcat. Well, that's just about gonna wrap up my review of the Dodge Charger GT all-wheel, you know, it's a long name, you know the name. I've said it a lot in this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed. As you can tell, I'm wearing a different shirt. It is a different day. I filmed that yesterday, and I'd like to know what you thought of that new POV style. Normally, I don't shoot the entire video in first person, but it was very hot yesterday and my mic wasn't recording correctly. So I was like, let me just shoot this in first person and see how it goes. And through the editing process, I think it turned out pretty good, but I'd love to know what you guys think. I have a feeling I'll probably stick to my standard formatting unless like this video does incredibly well and everybody's like, do that, whatever you did in this video, do more of that. But anyway, before I go, I'd like to mention that I am a Christian, and if you have any prayer requests, I would love to be able to pray for you guys. You can leave those in the comment section below. And lastly, I'd like to close out on a weekly scriptural reading. This week's is Psalm 91:11. For he will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all of your ways. All right, guys, I'll see you next time. Take care.